There's no such thing. See you guys next week. Just kidding. But not really. There definitely is no perfect job. And this is something that I've really been coming to the conclusion of recently as I thought about my career and where my career is headed and the variety of decisions and choices that I could have made along the way to have a better job, something that made me happier or more successful, better viewed by others. But reality is, life is a long series of give and takes, and you just gotta do the best with the cards that you're dealt, but also reflect afterwards and realize, oh, these are some of the things that I could change for the future and make better decisions on. Although I am barely into my career, as many of you know, here's some of the thoughts that I've had/concluded based on my reflection of my career choice, my career path, as well as with conversations with others that are either 1, struggling with their current career, 2, considering a shift to another career, or 3, actually pretty satisfied with their career, and as to why they're so satisfied. The biggest buzz phrase, the biggest buzzword that we always talk about, specifically to careers, but generally just in general, are you happy? Are you fulfilled by this job? More and more, I don't know if I necessarily buy the argument that you have to pursue a job that you're happy about. A job at the end of the day is just a job. That's going to be a recurring theme throughout this video, but it becomes a lot easier when you think a job is just a job. A job doesn't necessarily have to make you happy. Pertaining to the happy aspect, this is a lot easier said than done, but I think it's more important that there's something greater than your job that makes you happy. For example, your goal is to donate a certain amount of money to an organization at the end of every month, or spend this amount of time with your family, or your goal is to learn how to juggle. Very different things. People have very different goals. But if your job allows you to do those things, if your job enables you to do those things, that's what ultimately matters. I don't think you necessarily need to be fulfilled by your job specifically, because reality is most jobs aren't going to fulfill you. Job is a job. I think there are a very small minority of people out there that genuinely love what they do. The job that they love also pays very well, and it's a job that they could do for a while. Those 3 categories, criteria, qualifications typically don't align. You're not really going to have a job that makes you happy and fulfilled, pays you very well, and you can do it for a long time. It is a matter of give and take. Now that we've kind of got the cliche, corny stuff out of the way, here are some things that I think are very helpful in terms of what to think about when you're choosing a job. And this doesn't really necessarily apply to getting your first job, because I think your first job, you're getting your feet wet, and especially amidst times like this, it's important to just have a job. Or you're someone that isn't likely to budge solely because of circumstances, and you have to get what you want. When thinking about a job, I think it's important to think through this following framework, or at least I think this is how I would think of a framework as I move on from my current job to the next. Getting the one that people try to avoid talking about out of the way first. Money. Money matters. Anyone who says money doesn't matter, or anyone who says money shouldn't be considered when you're looking for a job, or this job's gonna make you happy so it doesn't matter, they're lying. And you could call me a crazy investment banker who's obsessed with money, but that's not the point here. I think money matters because money is the tangible return that you get from your job. Of course, you could be fulfilled by your job, don't get me wrong. You could be doing very meaningful things like working for a nonprofit, serving a religious organization, but at the end of the day, a job's return on investment is money. You should first consider how much money matters to you. Reality is, when or if a job pays a lot, there's a reason for that. You either are going to be worked a lot, speaking kind of from personal experience, you're going to have to go through a lot of schooling to get to that job, doctor, lawyer, professor, or you're gonna have to have some kind of incredible ability that others don't have, or a combination of all 3. Every job, in my opinion, makes sense. There are no illogical jobs in terms of the correlation between effort/ability required versus pay. So really consider, do I have the ability/patience/grit to get into this job, to maintain this job? And also consider, is that amount of ability, effort required worth the amount of money and the satisfaction/the things that I could be doing with that money? Money matters. Another aspect of a job that people sometimes don't think about, and I think I actually didn't really think about this during my search. I'm always lost for words when people ask me, why did you choose blank? Because I didn't really think about it that much as I was making my career decisions. Location matters. You really need to think about, do I want to be back home, near my hometown family, friends? Do I want to be in a city to experience the young, bustling life of New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco? Do I want to be in the suburbs to enjoy a more quieter life? Do I want to be abroad and experience something outside of the United States or wherever your home may be. And also consider what opportunities are available in this place that I'm going to. You're probably not gonna want to be in Dallas for fashion. You'll probably want to be in LA. You'll probably want to be in Silicon Valley for tech as opposed to Oklahoma. I think these are very important things to think about. And while job first, think about the job first. And realistically, if that job is offered at that location, it probably is because that job is relevant to that location. However, the location itself definitely matters, and go through a list of things that's important to you. I have to have nature around me, or I want tall skyscrapers, nightlife, bars and clubs. I need to have fun. I need to be around family. Cost of living. Location matters. After considering money and location, probably narrow down to a handful of jobs. And this is obviously after all the consideration of what school you're going to, what you're interested in, so on and so forth. Then I think you really need to start researching and networking and considering what you literally do on that job. That is kind of the buzzword phrase of where this YouTube channel started. My first video, what I literally do in investment banking. A lot of jobs have myths and rumors and glorification surrounding it, saying, this is what I do. Reality is, that's not what they actually do. The entire corporation, the entire firm, the entire industry, that might be what they're doing. But realistically, at an entry-level position, even as you rise up the ranks, what you actually do on a daily basis, while it might be contributing to that greater picture, it probably isn't what you think that job does. I think having that research up front is important, not only the negative aspect of, oh, I thought I was going to go into this, but now that I realize what they literally do, this is not what I want to do. I think the flip also happens. You look into a job that you never thought you were going to do, you read into and you learn about what they actually do, and you go, huh, that's something I actually can see myself do, but I didn't think about that when I first saw the label on it. That's important. And I think the best way to do this is reach out to those that have that job right now and ask them point blank, can you describe what you literally do every day, weekly, monthly, today? I think that will be very helpful in making your decision for a career. To turn back to the less tangible side of choosing a career, I think it's really important to nail in y'all's heads that job should be separated from life. I think there is a tendency, especially nowadays, to be a workaholic or be praised/admired for being so work-centered. There are merits to this. Human beings by nature are organizational, communal creatures that desire motivation and a purpose for a living. If you don't work, and in whatever means or definition work is for you, people that don't have work at the moment for whatever unfortunate circumstances or by choice definitely hit a point of mental decline where they lack this purpose and lack the feeling of achievement. However, in this mentality, it's very easy to fall into the mindset of work gives me purpose, therefore I need to invest everything into work, and if work fails, then I fail. That is a very dangerous mentality to have. I think your job and your career should be a part of the equation. It should be a means to getting somewhere, not the somewhere itself. I highlighted this in the beginning of the video. You need to have a greater purpose and have the job fit into this equation rather than the job be your actual purpose. Everything I've said so far is good and sounds great on paper, but you also have to be realistic. This is, at the end of the day, a guy on YouTube telling you a very motivational, buzzwordy speech about jobs. Reality is everyone is faced with different circumstances, grew up in different environments, and I should not overlook that. You need to be realistic and be very truthful and honest to yourself and think, well, how can I optimize myself given what I'm dealt? Realistically, if I wanted to be part of the MBA right now, my best bet would be to go on the operational side of a team or the MBA itself. I will probably, actually, I almost want to say concretely, never become an NBA player. Realistically, most of you will never become NBA players. I think you have to be realistic in that approach. This is not to say realisticness should limit you from pursuing your goals, which are definitely possible. For example, on my previous video, I covered non-target versus target schools. If you come from a non-target school, I would not limit yourself if investment banking is really something that you want to do, as IB is impossible for me. That is a different kind of impossible that I think circumstantially it's hard to do, but it's not impossible to do. Differentiating between the I can achieve this with more effort than others versus I probably can't achieve this even if I put in all the effort is an important thing that you should really keep your mind on, especially as you get a bit older. This next blurb I struggle with a lot personally and something that my friends always tell me to focus on, but I also think it's important that you look at process rather than result. We're a very result-facing environment/culture. We don't like to admit it, but reality is if the result is good but the process was bad, we think of the thing as good. But if the process was good, where you put in a lot of effort but there was no result, you think you wasted time. I'm trying to see it more as the opposite. I think what really matters is that you put in good effort, and regardless of the result, good things came out of that effort. The effort itself, ironically, is a result, a form of a result. You might have not gotten the exact result you wanted, but you definitely gained things out of the process, and not gaining the result was also a result. I fully understand that as someone on the other side of things, as someone who is employed and has a job that others might really want, it might be easier for me to say because I might have the result that you might want. I might have realistically put in less effort for this result than those who have not gotten the result with tremendous amount of effort. But I do think that the process is fundamental in all of our lives, and the process itself should also be deemed as a result. 2 concluding thoughts / suggestions that I honestly need to follow for myself. This is more of a self-reflection and telling me to follow along. I think the NBA analogy has gone to my head and I'm acting as if I'm rotating the ball, which I actually can't do in real life. Very important thing here is don't compare yourself to others. We've learned that since kindergarten from our parents. Impossible to do, especially in this day and age of social media, LinkedIn. But I don't mean this as simply as, oh, he is there, I am here, therefore he is better than me. She is doing this, I'm doing that. I make more money, so I'm better than her. That's bad, that's awful. But more, I'm thinking about the fact that we're all so different and every job is so different. You actually don't know what they do. You don't know what they get paid. And even if you do, you don't know how they got there, why they got there, whether or not they're satisfied with what they're doing. Realistically, everyone is putting up a front and either complaining more than they should or making it seem like they enjoy it more than they actually do. I think it's important to keep all those things in mind, but most importantly, keep going your way regardless of what others are doing. Because as I mentioned before, the process is important. And at the end of the day, a job is a job and it should not define you. And on that note, my final concluding thought that kind of dismisses this entire video. And I feel like that seems to be the flow with a lot of my videos. I say a bunch of words and then my final phrase is, this video is meaningless. Don't be afraid to go with the flow. In today's day and age, in today's culture, we're obsessed with planning. There's got to be the next step. We have to be in line. We have to be ahead. If I did A, then B is the logical next step. If I did B, I have to go to C. If I already did A, B, and C and I don't make it to D, then I'm a failure. It's so hard and difficult to live like that. I always live like that and I want to stop living like that. And obviously with all the atrocities and the negativity that comes with Corona, the one positivity I will point out is that we no longer can plan anything. We just gotta go with whatever happens. And that sometimes might not be the best thing. You want to plan your vacation, you want to plan your wedding. But in terms of career, in terms of next steps, there's not much we can do right now except go with the flow. I know this entire video was talking about choosing the next step, how to decipher between a good job and a bad job, how to plan ahead. But at the same time, things will come your way. Things might not come your way. But reality is going with the flow sometimes isn't that bad. And many times is the only thing you can do. So don't be afraid to deal with things as they come. Don't be afraid that things might not go your way. Because realistically, even if you take all the right steps, even if you go through the right thought process, things probably won't go your way. Thanks for watching, everybody. Huge on 3,500 subscribers. Really appreciate it. As always, appreciate all the feedback. Please tell me if I ranted and just threw a brain dump at you guys. See you guys next week.